from WKRG Plus, your local election headquarters. This is Politics with Pete.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode. This time, we're taking a look at the City Council race in District 2. And joining me first is candidate Reggie Hill. Reggie, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the City Council.
Absolutely. First off, I want to thank you for this opportunity here. Politics with Pete is a beautiful show that you put together, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to share this information with the city. I'm born and raised here in the city of Mobile, District 2 product. I went to Lioncoff Elementary School, Callaway Smith Middle School, Murphy High School. I went on to college to obtain a degree in music. Then I got a master's in curriculum and instruction. I've been a part of what we could call political service since elementary school on the student council, and then all the way up to where I've served in elected capacities and executive roles in internationally known organizations. So my heart is here. I'm in this race because we have a lot of issues going on in the city of Mobile, and I believe since our inception in 1702, this is the most crucial election that we've seen. And we can't afford to keep doing the same things over and over, expecting different results, and we can't risk someone else coming in and leading this, I would say, charge towards our new state of the city that has not been a part of that process. And I think you need someone who's going to be committed, who's going to be long-term, who's steadfast, someone who knows how the municipal government works, and someone who advocates for the people first, putting people before pockets and policy before politics. And anyone who knows me knows that's who I am. Yeah,
and you're a familiar face at Government Plaza. You're very involved in all things throughout the community. Just kind of tell us some of the organizations that you have been involved with.
Absolutely. Well, I'm fortunate to be the executive director of Success for the Future. It's a nonprofit organization. We work with at-risk youth, ensuring that they steer clear pathways which leads toward delinquency, social dependency, and incarceration. And so even as a part of my platform, and what I'm saying is you having to have this experience on the ground about what's going on. A lot of people say public safety is the main concern in the city. I don't think so. I think we just haven't put the right investments toward the organizations that work and the data-proven initiatives that could be in place. So that experience, as well as different fraternal groups, a member of Yorktown Missionary Baptist Church, and any opportunity I have to serve, I'm always available. And so those are the things that I've been a part of here, and I continue to do that as the days go by.
Are you concerned about the policing in Mobile, some of the tactics that have been used over the years, and do you think what types of changes might be necessary?
Well, I think that we need to re-examine Chapter 46 of the Mobile Municipal Code, which deals directly with policing. I think there needs to be components added for additional training, sensitivity training to be specific, going into particular neighborhoods and understanding the makeup and demographics of those places. I also see where we're potentially proposing 24 new officers for the city of Mobile in this upcoming budget as well. On next week's agenda, we're going to be voting for a potential COPS grant, which would determine additional officers as well. I mentioned this when I spoke this week, that I don't think we should be policing our way out of this. It's not possible. It's not anything that's going to be viable. I think we need to be more proactive. Those are professionals. We know that with any entity, there are good and bad apples, we can say. I think the majority of them want to come in and serve and be pillars of our community, but they have to follow their directives. So I think it's going to be up to a strong council to come in and put those laws in place that allow them to be the best professionals they can be and serve the community the way that we need and deserve.
If you're elected, you'll be representing some unique areas in the city that we all have an investment in. First and foremost, downtown. Yeah. What do you think needs to be done downtown, or are we on the right path in terms of our balance between our entertainment and our work situation?
I think the most crucial thing that I'm hearing as I canvass and speak with business owners and some of the citizens downtown, the concern of the homelessness crisis or epidemic, how we want to label it. I think that we have quite a few vacant facilities in the city of Mobile that are being underutilized or not utilized at all. I think there are a lot of grants and additional resources that are out there that we can use to provide opportunities for those that are less fortunate. I think once we do that, we can start seeing the ambiance that we look for when we go to a downtown. I think the city is on a chart or a path towards charting the way that we want it to be. We just seen this week where we spent nearly $17 million on the redevelopment of St. Louis Street. While I believe that that could have went further towards infrastructure needs, because we have basically the oldest infrastructure in the city, but we see that that's going to advance something down the line. And so we saw this with the Tiger Grant on Broad Street and in Bishop State. We're hopefully seeing some things in the work going towards MLK. So there's a lot of stuff that connects to that downtown corridor I'd like to see, and I think with the right leadership, we'll see it happen.
Yeah, how do you fight to get District 2's needs met? Because as you mentioned, it's one of the older parts of town. I mean, you've got a lot of infrastructure that really needs some serious work.
Absolutely. Well, I think the first ideal is to create relationships with my potential colleagues, learn the things that make them tick, the things that they're going to want to see done in their community as well, and so we can find some happy medium, we'll call it. But I think if we just look at this realistically and holistically, we'll understand that if we don't start investing in this part of the town now, it's going to be detrimental, as we have to start investing in other areas in the future. And so I think we can take the CIP fund, which is potentially upwards of $70-something million. Each of the individual districts are getting $4 million apiece. I would like to see where we use more of the discretionary pieces of that allotment to be towards projects like in districts 1 through 3, actually, and I would like to see where maybe for a term, instead of doing that evenly across the board, we look at the most need projects and then invest that way. I think if my colleagues would see the need, as far as, because people are not going to come into the city of Mobile and say, oh, I had a great time in this district, or I didn't have a so good time in that district. They're going to talk about their experience in Mobile, and once we pitch it that way, I think that's the way we can move forward with it. Another
neighborhood you might be representing is Africatown, and we've got the Heritage House up and running. There's the Welcome Center being built. And what are your thoughts about Africatown as a tourism draw and a way to display our history to those from outside of the area who might not be familiar with the Clotilda and the story of Africatown?
Absolutely. Now, when I grew up, I knew it was Plateau, and it's so much that has sprouted from this, and there's so much that we can be done because this is an international heirloom with the legend in itself. We had a forum last Thursday at Lion Cop Elementary School, and I mentioned the idea of the Equal Justice Initiative and the museum that they have, the Lynching Museum in Montgomery. And I was saying there's no reason why we shouldn't have that same amount of robust engagement from not only our community, but people all across the world, because this is so monumental, not just to the city, but just in the makeup of who we are as a country. And so I think with the right leadership, we can find the investments. I believe that there are probably a lot of businesses who would want to even come into the area that might not be here in Alabama yet, or some that might be able to spread out that are here. I think if we actually sell the message to those who could be a part of this process, we'll have the support that we need, and then it'll become that international heirloom. And I think it could bring billions, I mean with a B, dollars to the city of Mobile.
One final question for you, Reggie. In downtown and some of our older neighborhoods in District 2, we have a lot of abandoned properties, both residential and commercial. What can be done to keep people from just kind of sitting on properties and driving down their neighborhoods and their neighbors' property values?
Absolutely. I think we need to create incentives. I think we need to work with the Chamber of Commerce to find ways that we can get small or startup businesses in these facilities and these places that might be underused. I also feel that, going back to the piece before, we've got to connect with our nonprofit organizations and having more social service entities so that we can have somewhere for our homeless or those who might be displaced to go. We have a lot of things that are accessible to us, but our focus tends to be in a lot of other places. So I think once we're able to redirect our attention to the things that are crucial to the needs of our people and the things that we see day in and day out, and move beyond just seeing it and knowing what to do, that's when we'll be able to see the difference and be able to use that. I think there are a lot of businesses out here who just haven't had opportunities, and if we can find ways to help them, then that's something that can thrive for years and years and years to come.
All right, Reggie Hill, good luck to you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we'll take a break and be right back with the other candidates in District 2. And we're back talking about the City Council race in District 2, and we're joined now by the incumbent in the race, William Carroll. William, thanks for coming in. And for people who might not be familiar, tell us about your experience on the council. You've had kind of two different terms, so to speak.
Well, yes, I have, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the opportunity to actually interview and talk a little bit. Yes, I have been on the council once before. In 2005, I was first elected against a race with an incumbent named Thomas Sullivan. We were fortunate fortunate enough to win that race, and I served 2 terms. But however, in 2012, with the situation in our family where my mother was passing, I did not run for a 3rd time at that time, and we left office. We ran again in 2020, and we were fortunate enough to be reelected by the people as a public servant, and we've been back for about 3.5 years.
Have things changed from your first time in office to right now?
Well, the knowledge base hasn't changed, and the procedures haven't changed. The administrative quality and the things and the processes that they have gone through have changed, which has kind of enhanced a lot of the things that we were doing when we were in office the first time. The ability to use blanket covering in neighborhoods where you're able to handle a whole task at one time has been a plus for us in this administration. It's allowed us to get a lot of things done at one time that in the past we were not able to.
So you've been working with 2 different mayors then during your time, and you'll have a 3rd if you get reelected. What's the relationship like between the mayor and the city council and among the council members themselves?
Well, the relationship with this council is great. It's probably the best council I've ever worked with. The ability to actually sit down, talk with someone that doesn't quite see things your way, and then have the ability for that person to be yielding to be able to get things done. You may not get everything you want all the time, but you get what's needed for the district and for the betterment of the city. So it's been a great opportunity to work with this council. This mayor has done a really good job. He's been approachable in ways that we've been able to get things done, or actually show him sometimes when he doesn't know what's actually happened. Hey, you really need to take a look at this, and it helps make things change too.
District 2 is a unique district in the city. You've got a number of historic districts. You've got Africatown, you've got downtown. It's a special district, don't you think?
Well, District 2 is the heartbeat of the city. If there's anything that happens in District 2, then it has a ripple effect that goes throughout all the other districts and throughout our cities. We have all the historic districts but one. We have also blooming and budding historic districts in Africatown, the campground in the bottom. We have heritage places in the neighborhoods, but we also have some of the bigger issues too. We have the oldest infrastructure in the city. We have the oldest streets and the oldest street lights. We have the biggest trees in the city because the city actually started there. So many times it requires so much more in District 2 than it does anywhere else. And it also requires somebody that has a knowledge base to be able to handle everything from infrastructure to planting trees, and also the political end of it, to be able to find compromise and resources between all entities involved. So it takes a special talent.
Yeah. Let's talk about downtown. What do you think of the progress of downtown over the last few years and where we go from here?
Well, if you remember when I was in office last time, we started the entertainment district. So from the time we started it and actually got the legislation moved and passed until now, we've done an immense job. There are more businesses, there's more opportunity, there's more entertainment, the growth is phenomenal. So that is a huge plus in our cap from the time that we started. I think it was about 2009, somewhere in between my first and second term. Now also the infrastructure repairs downtown are also just really growing. Broad Street, we'll bring back Broad Street, which we know we started when I was there the first time till now, but with the continued growth of that, it's just a bonus. And now with the Restore Act money and Tiger Grant that we're about to do, that's going to be on MLK with reviving Avenue, makes it even better too. And everybody now knows about the plans for St. Louis Street. So you talk about downtown, it's changing, and not just the infrastructure, but the influx and growth of people too. New facilities, new apartment complexes, new hotels on the horizon. There's so many things that are happening downtown. I mean, like I said, if it happens in District 2, it ripples the rest of the city. We're actually the heartbeat of the city of Mobile, and it takes a lot and a very special group of people in person to make sure that we can manage all of that at one time.
And up in Africatown, we've got the Heritage House that's open and the Welcome Center's being built. Do you think that Africatown can be a real source of bringing people, tourists, into the city as a historic cultural area?
Well, no doubt in my mind. If you look at the museum in Montgomery and what it did just for the area up there, once we have it all fall in line with the revitalization of Africatown, which ARC is doing, and also with new rooftops and people moving out there. But once we have the Welcome Center there, and just the mere fact that everybody's organizing to get something solid and concrete around the Clotilda, Africatown won't just be a local tourist attraction. It'll be an international tourist attraction where people actually are coming to see everything that's out there. We're already starting to see some of that, but as a city, as a councilman, and as a state, when we're all working together, I think we can really enhance that to make it even better than what it is now. I say in the next 5 years, we'll see a totally different Africatown.
What can we do to bring the people who come here to take a cruise to spend more time in town?
Well, we have to increase our touristic amenities, something that holds them here for 24 hours, something that gets them to put, like I said, heads in beds and butts in seats. When we keep doing things like the Welcome Center, maybe a different museum, and a couple more museums out in Africatown, and other amenities like that that hold people here for 24 hours, then that allows them to come in a day or two before the cruise ship actually leaves, and it keeps them here as opposed to just having what I call a driver's market, where people wait till the last minute when the numbers go down on the ticket and they run by a ticket and jump on a cruise ship. As we do those things, we'll be able to increase the number of people that we have here for tourism to actually stay. The other thing I think is going to help us some is also the Amtrak. Amtrak's going to bring people in, but as you know, Amtrak comes in the morning, leaves in the afternoon. So sometimes it encourages a day stay over here. So it might encourage people, instead of just driving in, to come in on Amtrak, and then, it's right there at the cruise terminal. So, I mean, and also where the cruise terminal is and where the Amtrak landing is, and it encourages people to just walk across the street, stay in a hotel, then come back across the street and get on a ship in the next day. So it's a real boost for us, and we're doing a lot of things to enhance our area and enhance our downtown, and it's all working together. We just have to continue the progress that we're making and make sure we have somebody there that's going to help us and the council continue the progress that we've already made.
You mentioned some infrastructure issues, and I know a lot of people in District 2 probably think, hey, look, we're living in this old part of town where our stuff is older, needs more attention, we should be getting more funds to deal with it. What do you say to those folks, and how we talk about how the penny tax is divided CIP program?
Well, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, more money in capital infrastructure improvements needs to be spent downtown in District 2. I mean, we have the oldest infrastructure, especially when it comes to drainage. I've said once before, if I had an unlimited checkbook, that's the first thing I'd do to make sure that we relieve the flooding. There's a certain place in District 2 Ann Street where the major corridor and trunk line of drainage comes through. Our next major project for drainage down there has to be from Virginia Street to Government Street on Ann Street, and those pipes have to come up. We have to increase the size of those pipes, and once we do that, that allows the water to evacuate itself out to the Tennessee Ditch and out to the river. But right now we can't do that, because the cost is so monumental. But once we do that, it doesn't just help one historic district, but it takes the pressure off of Linecoff, it takes the pressure off of Oakley, but then again it takes the pressure off of Jefferson Street, Bayou Street, and those streets that are just across the street from that area.
Crime is the big issue that people seem to be interested in this election cycle. What are your thoughts about the job the police department's doing? What could change in terms of personnel or tactics to try to solve some of our crime issues?
Well, first you got to remember that council does not write or develop anything for the police department or does not direct any personnel, but I do believe that continued emphasis on community policing, where we are back to policing beat by beat and have our police officers in the streets walking daily, talking to neighbors and talking to business owners where they can physically see what's going on, actually helps us, and it actually helps the people in the street too, because it builds a sense of confidence within the community. The police know how to react to certain issues better, and it also gives line of sight on when an incident does happen. So many laws in our city say that the police officer has to actually view the issue or the incident in order to make an arrest or to move forward with it. So it puts us in a different position where we actually have the officers there all the time. It also puts the people that are there in a position to say, okay, officer, this just happened. You know me, you know who I am, you can trust what I'm saying, and we can move those things a little bit better.
All right, well, William, we are out of time. Thank you so much for coming in, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more on the District 2 Council race right after this. Welcome back, everyone, as we talk about the City Council District 2 race. Samantha Ingram joins us now. Samantha, nice to have you here. And you might be a familiar face to a lot of people. Tell us about your experience working for the Mobile County school system.
Well, first of all, thank you, Peter, for this opportunity. And my experience with working in Mobile County Public School System, it really prepared me for the future and the career that I was able to have leaving Mobile in terms of being a superintendent of schools and eventually the chief of the Department of Defense Education Activity. I truly enjoyed working with our teachers, our educators, our leaders, simply because of their commitment and passion to ensure that our students were successful. So that was an enjoyable time, and it definitely prepared me for my journey that I was able to have in the last, 17 years.
Yeah, tell us what you've been doing in that time period.
Well, over the last, I think about 15, 16 years, I left Mobile first as a superintendent of schools. As you know, in 2002, I was the deputy superintendent, and we were able to create a transformation plan that turned the schools moving in the right direction. And then I left for South Carolina as a superintendent of schools. I stayed there for 2 years and got tapped midway in to become a superintendent for the Department of Defense schools. And I stayed there for 7 years doing that. And then I was promoted to become the chief for all of the schools across the United States for the Department of Defense. And that's from Fort Stewart all the way to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. So that's what I've been doing.
All right. Well, let's talk about, as we're recording this, there's an effort to get you removed from the ballot. Let's talk about that. And are you a resident of Georgia? Are you a resident of Alabama? Where do you stand on that?
You know, Peter, that's a great question. First of all, let's be crystal clear. I am a resident of Mobile, Alabama, right? You know, when you leave a state, you don't call that state back and say, by the way, take me off of your voter registration. You just leave. And what the state expects is that you're now registered still in Georgia, you're registered in Alabama, and as a good citizen, you know you can only vote in one place. And I will vote on August the 26th here in Mobile, Alabama. And so, you know, again, it's just a frivolous lawsuit, a waste of taxpayers' dollars. But again, that is why we need a change in leadership, and that's why the people are crying out for a change in leadership.
Let's talk about what you are hearing as you've been campaigning around District 2. What are people telling you about the city and how things can be better?
Oh, excellent question. You know, I've probably been to almost 2,000, today is probably over 2,000 homes, right? And as I sit in their living rooms, as I talk with them on the sidewalks, as I listen to them when they're jogging and I run with them to keep up with them, one message is clear, and that message is they need a leader that will listen, that will act, and that will deliver, because they realize we have the same perpetual problems. We have the same problems from 2005 that we have them now in 2025. The incumbent was there in 2005, and he's still sitting there in 2025. And they want to change. They want leadership that shows up. But like I said, they want someone that's going to listen, that's going to act and deliver. And that's what I've been doing for the last 30 years. You know, you think about my students, you know, imagine being a classroom teacher and you just don't listen to what your students are telling you, and you don't take that data and act and deliver. You won't get the improvements that you need. And that's what we're going to need, a change in leadership, so that we are truly listening to the constituents of District 2, because they have some common sense solutions to our perpetual problems.
Samantha, what are the specific problems that they're talking about? What are the maybe top 1 or 2 or 3 that they're mentioning to you? Okay,
I'll start first with the infrastructure. No, let's start with safety. Let's start with the one that's most important. Let's start with safety. It's been clear that they realize we do not have a safety plan. And they say, you know, if we can just do some common sense things, more lighting, you know, if we can do common sense things in terms of cameras, but more importantly, create a plan. And they want someone to listen, because they've been saying that. Here's a good example of the fact that we're not listening and that we need this. Recently, there was going to be a sale for the YMCA. The YMCA offers all these opportunities for our youth, and we were going to sell it for $1 to a Mardi Gras association. If you listen to what the constituents were saying, how could you sell? What political official would sponsor an ordinance to sell a piece of property, knowing that youth opportunities and safety it's a direct correlation. When you have youth involved, it shows the more opportunities you have for youth, you have a decrease in terms of violence, in terms of crime. And that's a good example. And that's one of the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to ensure that we bring to our city government, we're going to ensure that we increase the youth opportunities. There's so many ways we can do that. When we partner with these large companies that come here and we offer them incentives, we can partner with them and small businesses too to say, hey, we are looking for internships for our students in all different fields. Because if we can get them connected to those internships early on, we begin to create a pipeline. So those students that will leave from those internships, go off to school, what are they going to do? They're going to come back to Mobile. They're going to go right back into that same position. Of course, it'll be a higher position, but they're going to go back with that same company. And so we must focus on our youth. And the way we focus on that is by ensuring that we are providing more opportunities, not coming in and depleting those opportunities.
I'm assuming infrastructure you're hearing a lot about.
Oh, my goodness, definitely. I don't care if you go from Africatown to Oakley. One message is clear. The infrastructure must be addressed. You can go, like I say, you can go from Africatown to Oakley. You can go, and you're going to see, I'll use Monterey Street, beautiful homes, right? Look at the infrastructure. They patched, just recently, something was patched, and already they can see that it's falling apart again. It's crumbling, right? You can go to Hercules Street. You're going to find in the middle of the street, they've placed a plant so that you will not tear up your car as you're driving down. Again, I don't care where you are. The message is clear. They want leadership that's going to listen, but that's going to address the perpetual problems: safety, infrastructure, youth opportunities. Those are some of our major concerns.
It's a unique district, District 2, because it's got the historic districts, it has downtown and Africatown. Let's talk about Africatown. What are your hopes for that area and maybe becoming a tourism magnet for the city?
What I love about the fact is everything I'm sharing with you concerning District 2, the perpetual issues, each mayoral candidate, they've said the same. We know what Africatown has the potential to be, but it has not met that, right? And so my plans align exactly with theirs. First, getting these partnerships together, nonprofit, profit. We talk about public funds, we're talking about federal, we're talking about grants, and coming together and really creating the blueprint for what that should look like. We need to get it all planned out so that it can truly, truly be the mecca for tourism that it has the potential to do. You've heard the mayoral candidates talk about this. And so the only way that can happen is that we aggressively plan for it. We can't keep talking about it, we must plan for it and make it happen. And so that's going to be a priority for me. And I know that that's a priority for all of us moving forward, because you can clearly see that Africatown has been left behind.
We've only got about a minute left, but let's discuss downtown. What do you think of the current state of our downtown and what can be done to improve it?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that, Peter. Peter, I've had an opportunity to talk with small businesses and our local business owners, and we need to give them the attention that they need. You know, and what do I mean by that? You know, one of the structures, let's just say, for example, I just talked with one recently, just started a permitting process. We got to continue to find ways to streamline that process, right? So that we can quickly get them up and running. But more importantly, we got to look at some of the blighted homes there, because we got to increase the number of people that are passing through there so we can improve our economic development.
All right, well, unfortunately, we're out of time, but I appreciate you being here. Samantha Ingram, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you, everyone, for joining us as we've been discussing the District 2 race. Don't forget, the election is Tuesday, August 26th. We'll see you next time.